Okay, guys, so linear equation word problems. So making connections. So we're going to take our word problems, figure out what our equation is, what does it look like on a graph, and what does each part actually mean. And we're looking from slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. And just as a reminder, our m is going to be our slope, our rate of change, and our b is our y-intercept. For word problems, y-intercept, remember, is also your constant. And I think that's the most important word of all the things that you would see y-intercepts being called in discussion for your word problems interpretations, because it's the one thing that is not going to change. It is going to be the non-negotiable fee, the amount you start with. Think like, so remember, y-intercept is also called a starting point. And then your slope is going to be the rate at which it changes. So every time it happens, it's going to change at this number. So hopefully that'll help you get them situated within your words. Then there's going to be lots of fluff around them. You've been doing these word problems since 8th grade. So practice, 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 read, don't cheat, and make sure we're getting to where we can figure these out. So Joey was moving and needed to rent a moving van. The moving company charged Joey $50 plus 20 cents per mile. Per mile, that per, and it's not every time, but more times than not, as soon as you see per, then know that the number in front of it is going to be your slope, because he's going to be charged $50, non-negotiable. As soon as he walks in there and grabs that van, he's charged $50. So that's your starting cost. And then it's 20 cents per mile. So that means we have y equals, and our per number was 0.20 x, plus he's going to pay that $50 no matter what, every single time. So that's going to be our equation. And again, that means that as soon as he walks in the door, he's going to pay that $50. Then he's going to pay 20 cents for every mile after that. Now, if we were to put it on the table on our graph down here, that means if I go nowhere, I'm going to pay $50. As soon as I walk in there and ask for a van, I will pay $50. And then from there, you just got to figure out what are the best points to plot. Once you figure out your equation, y equals 0.20x plus 50, you can plug it in your calculator and get coordinates if that's helpful, or we can plug in values. So if I want to do 50, then I could do 0.20 times 50 plus 50 and get a number as well. Or as I said, if you go to your calculator or your Desmos and put in 0.20x plus 50 and then hit second graph, you'll get a table and we can find numbers. And mine's on decimals because of the way I set it up. Actually, no, it's not. Yep. So table starts at 1. Table starts, going to count by ones. The second graph. It's just going up 20 cents. That's my bad. So 50, and then we could go all the way up. 20 cents is going to mean we're going to probably get all the way down, because these are by tens, so it's probably easier to go to 60. So at 50, it's 60. So as soon as I travel 50 miles, I'm going to have 60. And that means it went up 10 and to the right 50. So 1/5, which is 20 cents, right? So up 10 to the right 50, which is 2 dots in this case. Up 10 to the right 50, which is two boxes because they're 25 each to get to the next one. And then up 10 and to the right 50, up 10 to the right 50. No connector forever going online. It's going to continue to go up continuously depending on how many miles Joey drives. So identify the slope and y-intercepts and describe what they represent. So our slope, we said, is 0.20, which is 1 over 5. Yep. Because remember, we had 10 over 50 and we want to reduce it. So up 10 to the right 50. But 1 over 5 is going to be your best. And that's just turning that 0.20 into a fraction, because rise over run is the most helpful. What does it represent? It's 20 cents for every mile. Would be the easiest one. And then our up one is going to be $1 for every 5 miles, because it was $10 for every 50 miles. So $1 for every 5 miles is your fraction interpretation. So $1 for every 5 miles, because 20 cents times 5 is going to be that dollar. So every 5 miles, $1. Our y-intercept is going to be 50. So it means that we must pay $50 no matter how far you travel. but just to get a moving van. And then from this information, Joey will need to drive 30 miles. What can he expect to pay? So 30 miles, what can he expect to pay? So that means I'm going to pay 20 cents per mile plus the $50 just to get the van, right? And again, this could be where you go back to your table if you have it in your table. And our X value would be 30. And so it's going to be $56. $56. Remember, it's $1 for every 5. And 5 times 6 gives me 30. So it's going to be 6 plus 50. So Y equals $56. So Joey will pay $56 to travel 30 miles in his van. Our second example, Sam's gym charges a $40 enrollment. There's no way you're getting out of your enrollment fee that cost unless they waive it for some other reason. But overall, every time you walk into the gym, they're going to discuss their enrollment fee. An additional $50 per month. So the per month part, remember we talked about, is the important part. And that's that $50 per month. So that's going to be our slope. To be a member, write an equation that represents the total cost as a function of months. So that's going to be Y equals $50 per month, so 50x, plus the $40 enrollment that you're not going to get out of. So we're going to go down here in number of months. So at 0 months, it's going to be 40, like as soon as you walk in the door. And look that this is going to go up 60. How much it goes up each time is 80 per 2, so it's 40, right? So it's going to, at 0, it's going to be at 40. So 40, 80, 120, 160, 200, 240. And that's a big thing to pay attention to. It's a great place for them to catch you if you're not reading the rate at which they're numbering your table. So then the first month is going to be $50 more than that 40, right? So that's going to be 90. So it's going to be right around here, which is not necessarily great. 2 months is going to be 100 more than that 40, which is going to be 140, which we said was going to be somewhere around up in here. Still not a great dot. And then again, use your calculator is always helpful. And you can just plug the value in if you don't want to use your table. So 50 times 3 plus 40 is going to give me 190. If we did 50, let's check my math, times 2 plus 40 equals 140. Yep. 50 times 3. Oh, sorry, we already did that one. 4 plus 40 gives us 240. That's a good one. So 4, we get 240. And once you get a good point on a table like this, we can see that it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and get another one if your rise and run makes more sense to you than plugging it in. Or again, if you go to your Y equals and you have 50x plus 40 and hit second graph, you should be able to see the cost depending on the number of months. And you can just scan through and figure it out. So at 1 month, it was 90. And then at 0 is 40, right? And then 140, 90, 240. And what this is stating, so our slope is going to be 50. And it's $50 per month in the gym. Or per month that you are a member. Our y-intercept is at $40, is non-negotiable. So that is the enrollment fee. There's nothing you're going to do to get out of it. You're just going to pay your $40 and then you're going to pay your monthly. So how much will Sam pay for a 6-month membership? That's going to be 50 times 6 plus 40. Again, you can either type it in your calculator on the home screen or you could go to where X is 6. Because if you're thinking about functional notation, this is saying f of 6 equals and then solve it because we're plugging in the 6 in the place of the X value. And that means our answer is going to, so f of 6, when x is 6, so when it is 6 months, our cost will be $340. All right, guys, that's your first page.